Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Strong and Bold. Today we are going to talk about forgiveness. I know it's a very sensitive topic and it's a very hard topic, but it's a topic that is necessary and it's really important that we talk about it. In this episode, we are going to learn what is forgiveness, why we should forgive, and the ways we should forgive. So number one, I'm going to start by saying that I'll give an example of a parable. So there's a parable in the Bible that Jesus talks about a master and a servant. So this servant owes his master, I'll say equivalent to, let's say, for example, $100,000. And then the master says that I have given you maybe 10 years or 5 years to pay this debt. You haven't paid this debt in full. I'm going to throw you in cell with your family and everything that belongs to you. And then the servant pleads, please forgive me. I haven't been able to pay because of this and that reason. Please have mercy on me, master. The master, looking at his servant, how sorrowful he was and how disturbed he was, he chooses to forgive and erase the whole debt. And he said, go in peace, be with your family. And then this servant walks on the street. He sees someone, maybe let's say his friend, who owes him $10,000. And then he beats this guy up. And then he says to the guards, arrest this person, throw him in jail, and then let him out until he pays my $10,000. When the master heard this, he got so upset. He told this servant, you ungrateful servant, I have forgiven you. You owe me this much money for this long period of time. But somebody who owes you less, you did what? So the master got so much angry, and he did to this servant what he was going to do beforehand. So why did I start with this parable? In the Bible says, forgive others so you can be forgiven. And even in the Lord's Prayer, there's a part that says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So when we do not forgive others, it's like we are also harboring our own prayers to be heard. Number one, the importance of forgiveness is that the issues of life flows from our heart. So if our heart is soiled or is tainted by any form of anger, resentment, pain, residuals, right? We're not able to think properly. We're not able to be rational, right? So then this impacts how we see others, how we view things, and how we can receive things. So for instance, if these three ways people usually get betrayed or they need to forgive. It's when betrayal from a spouse, friends, parents, right? So let's say if your spouse betrays you, or there's a lack of forgiveness in that space, you're not going to be able to love them as Christ loved the church, or you're not going to be able to serve each other. So then even if, let's say, for instance, somebody betrayed you and left you, you're not going to be able to receive other people. You're going to like, oh, so and so left me, so this person is also going to leave me. So you carry on this bitterness or this hatred for like maybe 10 years, where you are stopping your own blessings to experience the goodness of the Lord that he has for you. And then let's say it's like a parent scenario where a parent has wronged you or didn't do right by you. When you don't forgive your parent, you're also not going to have a long life, what God has promised, right? So let's say your parent does you wrong, you have your own children, you say like, they will never meet my parents because they did this and this and that. So then you're even rubbing off your own children the experience of having grandparents in their life, right? And even when you learn as we grow, we look at our parents when we were younger as our superheroes, and then as we grow we start seeing like, actually they're not superheroes, they are human beings like any other, and they have flaws. and they did the best in that space, in that season, with the information they had, or even how they were themselves they were brought up, right? So then you can see, let's say if your parents like, oh, you need to be reserved, you need to do this, you need to be like that. It doesn't come from a hatred place. It comes from even how also they were told. And even you will find that also their parents were told also how to behave. So it's like generational causes that impact us right now. But instead of being being resentful towards your parent, you can actually say, I see where my parents went wrong. I'm going to do right by my children. I'm going to go to counseling. I'm going to be more patient. I'm going to be more understanding. I'm going to be to parent from a friendship and open relationship and respectful space rather than fear. So that's one thing, right? And then let's say it's your friends who have like wronged you, so you're like, oh, from now on I'm never going to allow anybody close to me. Everybody comes and betrays me, and they leave me, they do this. It's painful when you're experiencing some of these things, right? But the thing is, like, you also rub off yourself an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to receive the rightful friends. Let's look at it like this. You have friends you start from primary school, right? You have friends in primary school, you have friends in high school, then you have friends in university, and then you have friends in your early stages of career, and then late stages of your career, or mid stages of your career. Sometimes the friends you had in primary school, you're not going to be in the same school, high school. So those ones, eventually they grow, or they get cut off, right? They grow off. It could be they moved, and then in high school you click with a friend because maybe you are from the same culture, or maybe from the same area, or maybe you have similar lived experiences. So that's one thing. But then you get into uni, it's more broader. There's many people. Maybe you're doing different courses with your friend from high school. Then there's a high chance sometimes this relationship also will not be sustainable in uni because of the demands of life, right? But then sometimes those friendships can still go with you until the end of time. And then you start your career, and then you find like the friendship maybe you had in uni, you went different paths, and that's okay. Look at it like this. In life is like a bus. You are the driver of your bus. So on each stop, there's gonna be people who gets off, and there's gonna be people who get on. So if you're like, I'm going to stop here for 5 years, nobody will get on, nobody will get off, it's like you are also limiting your own growth, your own steps, your own journey to where you need to end up. So where it should take you like 1 year, takes you 3-5 years, right? Because you're like, I'm stagnant, I don't want to move on, I don't want to embrace changes. So then that's the importance of forgiveness, and that's why we should forgive. So we're going to talk about ways to forgive. So when we see that people have wronged us, people have hurt us, people have betrayed us, it's really painful when you're experiencing that. But sometimes this pain, it's necessary for our own betterness. And I understand that might be very questionable, right? And might not sit well with many people. But let's look at in the Bible, the story of Joseph. Joseph was sold by his own brothers to be a slave. First, they were trying to kill him. They were planning to kill him, and then they sold him as a slave. And this is because they told him, he was telling them that his dream, and his father had made this court for him. So sometimes, like, our destinies, or where God has called us, it's where we need to go. But then the steps to take to reach where God has called us, they are different. And even in Joseph's life, he has been betrayed by his family members. He has been sold into slavery. You can imagine being sold into slavery. He's still serving. He's still being who God called him to be. and then he's even using his gifts and talents. So imagine if he was like, oh, now I am in prison, I'm not going to be friends with anybody, I'm not going to be opening to anyone, I'm not even going to use my skills or my talents that God gave me. Nobody would have ever discovered him. It's because of the people who was in prison with him. They told him their dreams. He interpreted them, and then when they got out, they told the Pharaoh of that time, or the Pharaoh of that time, and then they got him out, right? So that is why we should forgive. But the importance of forgiveness is that if we don't forgive those who have wronged us, we are also rubbing off our own peace. So imagine if somebody you always think or remember what that particular person did to you, you can't sleep, you get on antidepressants because there is a way the body keeps a score of the pain, even our soul. So even our soul holds this pain, holds this anger, all these things that happen to us, right? So let's look for an example. You have a white shirt from the beginning, so you are pure, everything is good, right? You have a white shirt, and then somebody comes with brown paint, touches you here. Another comes with the pink paint, touches you here. Another comes with green paint, touches you here. So then your white shirt is no longer white, right? So you can choose to like the paint, that it is now just not white, or you can choose to wash it. It might not be purely white, but it will still be your own shirt. So what you do with the pain, betrayal, rejection, it is what determines where you are heading to. So even in the Bible, Jesus had to be rejected, had to be betrayed, had to go through all that humiliation, shame, insulted for no good reason, just because he was different, just because he was the Messiah. But then even him, he had to go through those things so he can become Jesus Christ, our Savior. So imagine if Jesus in between was like, this God has just hit me so bad, I am not going to continue with this journey. Where will we be? So there's this say that says there's two important reasons in every human's life: when we are born, and when we find out why we are born. Some people takes a lifetime to know why they were born. Some people takes 10 years, takes early adulthood, while others seek half of their lifetime to find out why. So sometimes when you find out why you were born, some of these friendships or some of these relationships you grew up with, they're going to fall off naturally, because you don't have the same path, you don't have the same calling. It's different. But if you're like, no, I've been with my girls from high school, we used to be buddies, we continue to do these things, and then it's like, what about your future? You owe that to yourself, to be the best version of yourself. So if you stay behind in resentment, in pain, in anger, you don't give other people opportunity to embrace you. Even you don't give them the opportunity to know you, to even know them. So this is why forgiveness is important. And the ways we can forgive sometimes is really difficult. Sometimes it's really hard to even let go of those who have hurt us. But as I said yesterday in that video, there's ways you can learn to forgive. Number one, accept it happened. The pain is real. Feel it. It might take you a month or months to come to the actualization of that pain, right? Or that betrayal. It has happened. And then after you have acknowledged it has happened to you, learn how to deal with it. There's two ways here. That pain can shape you, or it can change you. It can change you to be the worst person or the worst version of your life, or it can cultivate you to be the best version of yourself. So let's look at butterflies, right? Before butterflies become butterflies, they start being caterpillar. And in that caterpillar stage, they get into a cocoon, and then in that cocoon they take a period of time, and then they become butterflies. But then in that stage of cocoon, there's many that don't make it, or some take longer. Some may take overnight, some may take a few weeks, some may take a few days to get to be butterflies. So you can't remain a caterpillar just because this family, friends, spouse betrayed you. No, you owe it to yourself to get to the next version, to get to the next season, to get to the next episode of your life. Then you get into that cocoon. When you are in that cocoon, that is when you come into isolation after the betrayal. You cry, you wail, you deal with it. You learn from it. You might start seeking counseling. You might start going to support groups. You might start like talking about like what it was, how that affected you, and what that pain was for you, right? And then after that, you become the butterfly. Those stains or that darkness, it might never be erased, but it's part of your history. So what are you going to do with that history? Are you going to bury it? Are you going to pretend it doesn't exist? Are you going to embrace it and get the best out of it? I understand. Sometimes you might not see the best of that season, especially when you're going through betrayal or rejection. It is a painful season. I'm not going to lie. You question everything. It's very difficult and challenging. But then when you come out on the other side from that pain, you are able to embrace the person you have become. You become the best version of yourself. You become whole. You become healed. And sometimes God speaks through this pain. Like, let's say it's like, oh, you need to move to a different state. And then you're like, no, I like this state. I love my people here, my friends, my buddies. Everything is here, right? And then they start dropping down. Dropping down. So for you to eventually move, and then now you're like, okay, I have nothing left in this space, in this state, so I'm going to go where God has been calling me. So sometimes shedding off those relationships, those friendships, it's necessary for your own betterness, for your own growth. As much as it's difficult, change is inevitable. And I hope one day you sit down and I'm like, wow, that had to happen. So for me to achieve this, so for me to become this person that I am today. And let me say, nobody becomes the best version of themselves overnight. It's a process. And have to experience, even to become a good leader, you have to experience all these things for you to sharpen your character, to sharpen your senses. But I'm not saying to get into isolation. No. So next time you start seeing those behaviors, those patterns, you know how to protect yourself, you know how to protect your peace. So that's the way we should forgive. Also, I'm going to say, don't forget to get a copy of my book. You can get it on Booktopia, Amazon, either on audio or hard copies. In this book, it's a small book and talks about loss, grief, healing, self-acceptance, and living life. So it has prayers in each season, and also it has some quotes from the Bible that can encourage you or whatever you're dealing with. So until next time, be safe, stay positive, and know that God loves you. And I hope one day you will give us your testimony of the goodness of the Lord during that season you thought it was going to take you out. So as I said, I need to be intentional and purposeful. So I will never, unless I know the message prior, I won't say, oh, now next time we're going to talk about this. So stay blessed, stay loved, and know you are all God's children and He loves you so much. Bye.